When it comes to getting around the tri-state, the playing field is far from even. Transportation options in greater Cincinnati can be quite limited, time-consuming, or even expensive for folks in wheelchairs.
In this Move Up Cincinnati report, Pat LaFleur shows us this struggle through someone who feels it every single day.
More than 40,000 people in Hamilton County alone live with a mobility impairment. Especially for people bound to a wheelchair, what many see as simple tasks, getting to work in the morning, going grocery shopping, even taking your spouse out to dinner, can seem insurmountable. Robert Schumick has lived with a disability all his life.
I am visually impaired, have been since birth. Then when I was about 21, I was diagnosed with peripheral neuropathy ataxia.
The disease cost him the use of his legs and also the ability to get around on his own. Riding Metro became his only option.
My life, I've never lived off the bus line. So when I go look for an apartment, it's always got to be on a bus line, within a block or so. It's pretty depressing. You know, you couldn't go visit friends on the west side. That's an hour and a half bus ride. So it was like, well, we're not going to see you very often.
According to the Americans with Disabilities Act, people like Schumick should have other options. The law states any taxi company that uses a van to transport passengers must equip that vehicle with a ramp or a lift. But former City Councilman Kevin Flynn says that law isn't being enforced.
We're still not doing the things that were in the law 30 years ago.
Flynn also uses a power chair, and he's made it his mission to hold cab companies accountable. While on council, he pushed for companies with 10 or more cabs to provide at least one wheelchair-accessible vehicle.
You see it in other cities, Pat. That's what's so frustrating, is really most major cities, and even cities smaller than Cincinnati. Jackson, Mississippi has wheelchair accessible vehicles.
We placed calls to more than 30 taxi companies with vehicles registered in Cincinnati. None could take a passenger in a motorized wheelchair. Your cab can't carry that? No, you don't have one of those. Gotcha. Okay, thank you so much. But it turns out equipping vehicles with the necessary hardware can be a challenge. One cab company owner told City Council last month that the new requirements meant fewer of her drivers can work legally.
Due to the new handicap ordinance, we're only allowed to renew 9 cabs. So we can't even service the 3,000 people that we do have, and I had to lay off like 40 people.
One company providing this service is Express Mobility Transport in Newport. Their general manager, Doug Mader, said he was lucky to have the cash up front to pay for his accessible vans.
We're very fortunate because we're a 60-year-old company. All the costs that are involved, I believe it would be very difficult for someone to just start on their own and say, I'm going to buy 3 vans and I'm going to do this.
Meanwhile, as cab companies work out how to accommodate this growing demand, people like Schumick want folks to remember.
If you live long enough, we're all going to have issues with mobility.
Now, Rand's Taxi, the company you heard from in this story, they tell us they're working with the city to add 2 new wheelchair-accessible taxi cabs to their fleet in order to come into compliance with municipal code. I've got more on that development right now on our website, WCPO.com.